Okay, so where do we think the evidence for the question on personal enterprise met the criteria?
Right. So looking in situation and task, I definitely think she showed elements of setting a goal. So she'd set a personal goal based on what the need was at the placement. So she was saying there was a lack of budget, but she knew that they needed to market this event and for it to go forward successfully. And there were limited resources, so she knew she was going to have to be innovative about how she went about it.
So where's that meeting the criteria, do you think?
Well, she's set herself a goal, and then she goes on to sort of explain what her planned actions were. So she was making it achievable by relating it to what was going on at the placement. They also were having redundancies and sort of measures there that she had to be aware of.
So you look at the 2-1 there, yeah?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could say it was heading towards this a bit because she was discussing the significance of the goal, because she was putting it in line with the placement needs.
Yeah, agreed.
It was also realistic because she talked about her own previous experience and what she could draw upon, her work in the union and other things, and use of creative thinking before. And she also sort of mentioned her career aspirations and how it might help her improve her future career by doing this kind of activity.
Okay, and she picked up on the National Occupational Standards in the follow-up questions because she hadn't included that in her first response. She could maybe have made a bit more of that, but I think we're kind of quibbling here. And in relation to what about improving her performance if we're looking at those strands?
I'm not sure what I had in that section. Did you have anything specific?
It's just questioning if we're progressing to say that we think she's covering what's in the 2-1 and looking up into the first. So there's just a sense of, I thought she could have done a bit more with that if we're looking at that level, but we're comfortable where we're going with that. Okay, so the competence in graduate skills in the action section.
Yeah, so in the action, first of all she talked about observing others, and the follow-up question, she went into more detail on that and said exactly what it was she'd seen, what the process they went through, why she found that useful and what she took from it, and as a result she went in a particular direction for her own skills use.
Okay.
She also did some research, so she's definitely looking in this box because she did the observation and research in graduate skills techniques. She referenced going back to the mini skills lectures as a starting point, and then following through various research methods on techniques, some of which she was saying were groups, so they weren't as useful. So she said what was useful, what wasn't, which one she was then going to go forward with and why. She maybe could have referenced where she got that
mind mapping
information from, but she explained how she was going to use that quite well. She went through the process of rejecting and synthesising ideas, so that was definitely showing quite strong skill of using creative thinking to generate ideas.
So you're looking, that's a very good strand. What about in relation to the excellent strand for personal enterprise?
So she also brought in the occupational standards there and started to discuss them in relation to her skills, so I think you could say that she was sort of pushing herself into the
and
excellent strand.
she'd suggested that the innovative this was new to the programme, and her, again it comes through in the results section, but a supervisor using the method, recommending it at the conference, that's quite a strong outcome, isn't it? Which suggests it was innovative and improve on work performance and processes.
Yeah.
Okay, so where are we on that strand? Is that 2-1 or
I think it's the first, yeah.
I mean, she touched on timescales at different points, didn't she? Not necessarily within the action section, but we're looking at the evidence as a whole here. Yeah. Okay, and the results section?
So she'd got benefits for the placement. She talked about the fact that she did solve the initial problem. She was able to market the event and get people to go along. She said about improved numbers going. Maybe she could have told us how she knew that and how many people had come extra.
But there was some measured outcomes in relation to a supervisor feedback and the supervisor taking the ideas forward and being given more responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, could have polished that a little bit, but there was clear improvements in relation to her actions, both for herself and for the placement.
Yeah.
So she's covering some of that.
Yeah, I think she did quite well in terms of how they're now going to use social media in future. That was quite a big improvement for the placements practice for future. So I think that was pushing her along there.
So well, there are the two questions to consider. Based on this question, if they were as consistent, where do you think we're looking to put this?
It's definitely looking like a first.
Okay.
I would say.